Hi, and welcome to this Friday night's edition of The Lounge. I am Intuitive Medium Channel, Marisa Liza Pell, and you will see us every Friday, 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, to talk about all things spiritual, transformation, intuition, and all around having your big breakthrough for the year. I would just love to see who's here tonight, and I'm so excited about this show. This is a return guest. We had a lot of fun the last time he was on with his wife Jamie, and tonight Michael's going to be coming on his own. So get ready with your questions. Get ready for a deep dive into a modality of healing that is not talked about very often here in the United States. So let me just say hi to everybody who's here. Matthew, you made it. Thanks for coming out. Having fun in Wilkes-Barre, I hope. Eileen, good to see you. Carol, good to see you. I have a funny story about Carol. I was at a doctor appointment with the one day in the mall. Yeah, in the mall. They have a doctor's office in the mall. And I just go up to like register and there's Carol being like, Marisa, hey, what's up? It's Carol. How you doing? I'm like, what's up? So that was weird, but yet I got to see Carol and say hi at the doctor's office. That's always fun to be recognized at the doctor's office. Benita, good to see you. Angela, good to see you. Oh, Michael, a blast from the past. You haven't been around much. Did you come back from Florida yet? I hope so. Carol, yes, giving me smiley faces. Debbie, good to see you. Thanks for coming on tonight. Awesome. Well, we have a show for you tonight. And before we get into that, I have been teasing you guys and telling you I have a big announcement to make. Maybe if you're psychic or intuitive, you want to take a guess, and then maybe you'll get a little special gift. Now, don't go too crazy, all right? It's not anything like, you can try. You could try to guess, but I don't think anybody on here knows what it is yet. But I will get to that in a minute. So if you want to take a minute to cast your intuitive vote, please go right ahead. Before we get into that, if you're new here and if you want to get a head start on your intuition and take my new quiz, what's your intuitive superpower, to find out which type of intuitive ability you have, because some people are like, oh, am I psychic? Am I a medium? I'm like, no. We got to start with the foundation and find out, are you a seer? Do you hear? Do you feel? Do you sense? Do you just know? That's the first step to getting your intuition off the ground. And then after that, for the viewers in the lounge, we always have a nice little perk from taking the quiz. But if you take it during the show, make sure that you put in the description what you got so I could tell you a little bit more about that. Awesome. Make sure you follow me on the IG. I post a lot of more creative stuff and fun reels of my cat and stuff like that you don't see on Facebook. So make sure that you do that. And next week is the 15th of the month, where I do my monthly energy forecast. So if you're not on my email list, you're not going to get that directly in your inbox. But I go over every day of the month on the good days and the positive openings and portals of energy to make your key decisions in the areas of love, career, finance, romance, paying your taxes, whatever it is. There's a good day for everything, and you want to expend the energy when the energy is good. So make sure that you get on my list in the video in the monthly forecast. So I'm going to go back here to see if anyone, Vanita. Okay. It is something special. I wouldn't say it's for the holiday season, but it's coming out before the holiday season. And if I can't say your intuition's off. I could say it could fit. Anybody else want to take a guess? I'm only give Vanita. Vanita has something special coming up too. Vanita, let me I have to pull this up, but I will get that to I'm going to announce something for Vanita too on the show. I just have to pull up her information to do that, but I'll get to that later, Vanita. All right, so I'm going to give you my little special announcement, and I have a retreat coming up in May of 2023, my first immersion retreat for your big breakthrough. We are going to be combining intuitive development, manifestation, and for some of you that's been hearing me talk about this a lot, grounding and balancing the nervous system, taking those three systems, integrating them and elevating you. It's called Transcend for Your Big Breakthrough. Now, the retreat is going to be limited to 16 people max. Okay. And right now, it is being reserved for my current students who are in our advanced levels first. They have first right of refusal. So they are determining who's coming now. And then we're opening it up to our intuitive development level 1 students and then our manifesting students, because we're going to be going over all of these details and going over all this stuff and putting it all together for the retreat, because this is a breakthrough that we're doing at this immersion. So if you want a breakthrough in your love life, in your home life, in your career, you want to find your soul purpose, this is kind of where, and it's a luxury retreat. So it's on a lake. It's beautiful. We're going to be around nature. So if you would like to be considered, I am doing application only. And once we do open it up to the public, the spots that are left, you guys can email me if you're interested to get some information right now. You can email me. I'll put it in the chat at info@connectionbeyond.com. And I will send you the application if you'd like to be considered to come on the retreat. We are putting the group together so that we could facilitate a mastermind to have everybody's goals achieved that we're going to do on the retreat. So I'm very, very excited. I'll put it up here as well. Email info@connectionbeyond.com to be on the wait list and the preferred list for those remaining spots. And it's May 11th through 14th, 2023 in Lake Placid, New York. Very excited about it. This is going to be an amazing, powerful experience. So Vanita, oh my gosh. Oh my God, Vanita, see, I think you need to come to my intuitive development classes, because it's all about trusting yourself, not about the information. You already knew it, but great job. Awesome. All right. Well, let's get to it. Shall we? I'm very excited about our guest tonight. And, like I said, he has been on the show before, and we actually went for an hour and a half with Michael and Jamie last time. So I'm just pulling up his information. So we're going to be welcoming, I'm going to say this wrong, so I'm not going to say it. I'm going to wait till he comes on. A plant spirit healer, Michael Thornhill, to the show and Galactic Channel. Michael works with beings of light, of love and light from across the galaxy, okay, and beyond, to bring healing, insight, and transformation to people's lives. He is a trained curandero, Reiki master, Galactic Channel, cosmic energy healer, and adept at many forms of mediumship and shamanism. So I want you guys to come prepared with your transformational questions. Michael resides in, I should have asked him how to say this, Pasac, in the Sacred Valley of Peru, where he offers ayahuasca ceremonies, Noya Rao dietas, online galactic channeling, cosmic energy healing, and learn to channel sessions and courses. So his focus is on healing trauma and on, helping people move through and having a breakthrough for healing in that area through plant spirit medicine and their retreats and their sessions as well, online and in person. When not in the Sacred Valley, he lives and works in the jungle surrounding Iquitos, Peru. Michael and Jamie Thornhill are co-founders of Casa Galactica in Peru. They are traditionally trained plant spirit healers and professional channels, and they dedicate their lives to healing others, helping others heal and evolve. Through their life transformative online workshops, trauma healing sessions, and ayahuasca healing and evolution retreats, they invite you to come home to the truth of who you are. So we're going to find out this, but what you're going to learn about the show tonight, what we're going to be talking about, is tools and techniques for releasing the pain of the past, getting unstuck and moving forward, and multidimensional healing, connecting you with your higher self, your spirit team for healing and evolution, and allowing you to put out something for yourself for channeling, to answer your most heartfelt questions for healing and evolution. So without further ado, let's welcome Michael to the show. Hi, Michael.
Hey, Marissa. Hello, everyone. Lovely to be back again. Thanks so much.
Yes, Vanita is very excited. She loves plant medicine. Excited to hear more. Awesome. And we have people stopping by from all places tonight. So, Michael, I know I read your bio. Is there anything I left out that maybe would be important to put in from my introduction of you that maybe wasn't in your little bio that I read.
No, that was pretty. It's pretty great. One thing I would say is that we no longer we don't live or work in the jungle anymore. We done an
Oh,
extended period of time in the jungle, but now we live in the mountains in Pisac. And you pretty much said it correct. So yeah, it
okay.
was a great introduction. I really appreciate it. So thank you very much.
Awesome. So I'm just going to start with the basics. I'm gonna get down to basics. Now we all know because we're all sitting here. You know, most of us in the U.S. are like, oh, he has a British accent, right? That's what everybody's thinking right now. So where are you from originally? We know you live in Peru now. Where are you from originally?
Yeah, I'm from originally from North Wales in the UK, which is kind of like next to England. Because sometimes people are like, "Where's Wales?" And
Yeah.
someone's like, "What's the UK?" And I was like, "England." And I was like, "Oh, okay." So yeah,
Uh,
nearby England. So just for anyone who
okay.
doesn't know that. So yeah, originally from the UK, but I've been living in Peru for the last 6 years.
Wow. Okay. So my question, and I don't even think I know this just from talking to you as much as I have, what made you number one decide to get into this work, and how did you end up in Peru in the jungle? Like how'd you go from Wales to Peru in the jungle, and what was that journey like for you?
Yeah, great question. So I think I'll just kind of start from the other end and just say that the reason that we're in Peru right now is one, it's amazingly beautiful. Andean Mountains, think Machu Picchu, think sacred sites, all this type of stuff. Incredible place. But ayahuasca, the main plant medicine that we work with, which we'll be talking about on this program here, is completely legal, 100% legal in Peru. So we operate completely 100% legally. We're a registered business and we're able to help people heal and evolve with this really transformative plant medicine. Where in places like in the UK or in the States, currently those are still like Schedule 1 drugs in most places. And yeah, we would be breaking the law helping people, which is not necessary in our opinion. That's just where it is, whether it's right or wrong. That's the different topic. But we're here in Peru because that's what enables us to really help people in a safe, trauma informed environment within these plant medicine ceremonies. So,
So,
backtrack to the beginning of the story.
yeah, yeah.
And I was living in the UK, heavily addicted to drugs, very depressed, anxious, undiagnosed PTSD, undiagnosed sexual and ritual abuse trauma, undiagnosed suicidal ideation. I wouldn't even recognize it as. I mean, it was there, but I wouldn't even really think or acknowledge it. So I basically went through my life addicted, very functional addict, and after many years of this addiction and depression and things not really getting better, and the kind of highs of the addiction getting lower, and the negative effects and the kind of the bad sides of that, or the worst sides of that, getting even worse. And my mother passed away, which was also a kind of a wake up call for me, even though she'd been ill all my life. It was a catalyst for me to start looking inwards into what was going on for me. And even though
Mhm.
I tried to give up drugs many different times, and done therapy and done things like this, and tried to different programs to kind of like feel like I was going to stop doing these drugs and addictions, nothing worked. Nothing worked for longer than a few days. And then I actually got in touch with a Reiki healer synchronistically, and started doing some different sessions with her. And I got in touch with my mother's spirit within that session. And I didn't, I was a businessman. I was very logical. I was a DJ. I was all these types of things. And I wasn't plugged into the spiritual world at all. I was completely plugged into the matrix in many different ways. But I had this very awakening experience where I contacted my mother's spirit in these sound energy healing sessions. And this energy healer, she told me about ayahuasca and told me that it's a really incredible medicine that can help you heal from addiction. I went and had this retreat, and overnight I stopped drinking, smoking, doing drugs, things that I'd tried for years to do, and it just stopped. And I didn't want it, which was different to stopping something and wanting something versus to stopping something and then it just be like, wow, the craving is not
Mhm.
there. So I didn't even know what to make sense of that. But long longer story shorter, I would say I continued to have a few different ayahuasca ceremonies and had these very big profound awakenings, and I could feel the life and the path that I was on in the corporate world wasn't for me. And I had all these intuitive awakenings, had all these connections with different spirits and beings that were showing me that the path that I was on wasn't part of my soul's purpose, which I didn't even, when someone says a soul's purpose, I wouldn't even recognize or understand what that really means. And people were saying, these beings were telling me I was going to go on this path of being a healer and doing healing work. I ended up going to India after this ayahuasca retreat to integrate and studying Reiki yoga. I was in Nepal and traveled around there for a few months, and then came to Peru because I knew that I wanted to go deeper with the ayahuasca medicine that I'd already received so much profound healing from. And ayahuasca in Peru is kind of like the heart of where the medicine has originated from. And I booked myself in to go into 10 weeks in the jungle to study and train and learn how to facilitate ayahuasca ceremonies and going on a very deep path of healing and evolution. After this 10 weeks, I got an apprenticeship and I stayed in the jungle, and I got an apprenticeship at a retreat center and studying with different curanderos or indigenous shamans, and then stayed doing that for a few years. And I think it was about a year and a half in that I met my wife, Jamie. She came all the way from Oklahoma, landed in the middle of the jungle just when I thought all hope for love was lost. Jamie comes in and just steals the show. And then we fell in love immediately, and we're like, this is what we kind of incarnated. We found each other, we made it, we activated each other in so many different ways. And she was trained and done a lot of the stuff that I just mentioned to you, and we were facilitating ayahuasca retreats together. But the work that we have to do was beyond any tradition. It's beyond any indigenous tradition. It's beyond any work that is done, I would say, as part of a tradition. It's beyond the tradition. It's trauma-informed empowerment work, multidimensional work that empowers you to connect to spirit, empowers you that you're your own healer, and does it in a safe, trauma-informed environment that recognizes that you can all channel, that you're all already intuitive, that you all are your own healers, and we're here simply as reflections to help you do that. So through this continued healing and evolution in ourselves, Casa Galactica was born, which is a safe place for you to heal and evolve, activate your intuition, empower your healing, and embody your truth. And now we have our retreat center here in the Sacred Valley of Peru, where we work with just small groups, very intimate groups of just 4 people, where we have our 10-day ayahuasca healing and evolution retreats, which take people through a complete mind, body, spirit transformation. Then we have a whole host of online trauma healing sessions, intuitive readings, different design and branding, intuitive design and branding, helping people step into their path. And what we actually have right now is something that's not on our website, or an old version of what we used to do is on our website, a Noya Rao Theatre, which you've mentioned. But we actually now have what's called, and I think it's quite interesting, and synchronistic, as you'd already shared earlier on, Marisa. We've actually now called our programs Inner Truth Immersion with Noya Rao and Blue Lotus. Yeah. And this is where we're basically teaching you how to connect to these plant spirits without ingesting anything, teaching you how to sing healing songs in ayahuasca ceremonies, teaching you about trauma-informed care if you're a multidimensional healer, teaching you about how you can hold space for other people with these songs, teaching you about how you can connect to any spirit and being with just the power of your own consciousness. So for anyone who's interested in that, and this is a 2-week immersion, which is kind of like the more advanced training, it's not on our website yet because we've just put it out to our mailing list also exclusively, but because we're here and you guys are all great, if you're interested in that, please feel free to contact us at casagalactica.com, which is already there down below. Contact us for a free consultation, or just send us a message and say that you're interested in this 2-week immersion, you'd like to know more, and we'll go ahead and send you over a PDF of that, and you can get ahead of the crowd there because we only have 8 spots over the course of next year as well. So for anyone who's interested in that, please feel free to reach out, or for any of our work as well. So hope I managed to get that in a short version of my story so it didn't go an hour and a half again.
Yeah. So I have questions, of course, deeper questions. Number one, I think it's interesting that this is where the work is going for a lot of us that are kind of have been doing the work. I've been doing my work for 25 years. And, at first it all started with, just people just wanting to tap into that intuition, people wanting to get answers from intuitives or answers from mediums. And now the work really is evolving for a lot of us, is helping people to tap into that for themselves, to get clear, to kind of calibrate their compass so that they know when they're going north or they know when they're going south, and they're able to fully trust their own inner wisdom rather than external sources to kind of guide them. So
Mhm.
I feel like a lot of people that are raising consciousness right now, like this is where it's going. It's teaching people how to get there on their own and to really tap into their own inner wisdom and actualize that potential that they have. And like your story, follow their path to their soul purpose, their soul destiny. Because a lot of times, I'm sure like when you were going through what you were going through as a man in the corporate world and DJing and in that lower vibration energy of addiction, what you thought was your soul purpose then was very different than when you had your spiritual experience, when you had your breakthrough, when your nervous system was grounded. You were able to kind of get clear on really what your true self was saying, not really what your nervous system state was saying, right? So it's very interesting. I have to go back to a part of your story which I'm interested in hearing more about. But you said when you went to that first Reiki session, you connected with your mom who passed. Now, was
Mhm.
this an experience where you actually connected with your mom, or did the Reiki healer actually give you a message from your mom that was like undeniably, her from the other side?
No, it was a direct experience. It was a direct
Really?
experience. The energy came in. I could feel it. I could feel this like energy come through, and then I cried, and just all this love came over me, and I felt it, and it was just like knew that inner knowing, as you were talking about earlier on, Marissa, about that kind of, how we start opening up to these intuitions. And I wasn't aware of any of this at the time, but it was an inner knowing that was just there. And it didn't make sense to me at the time. And I did mention afterwards to the Reiki healer. I said, I felt like, I contacted with my mother's spirit. It was amazing. I didn't know this. And she said she saw an orb come into the room at the
Wow.
time and then kind of validated my experience, which was really interesting. And then my first ayahuasca ceremony, I had a very similar experience, but much more visceral, very undeniable, that also confirmed my experience from with the Reiki session, and then went much, much deeper, where I could start feeling that my lack of experience, of conscious experience of unconditional love, was actually really at the source of the addictions, and that I was synthetically chasing that void that
Mhm.
unconditional love was looking to fill, and I was filling it with synthetics. So it was a very, very profound experience. And I actually went back then in the ayahuasca ceremony to being born and then lying on my mother's chest as a newborn, and then experienced unconditional love. And then that experience of experiencing the unconditional love healed so many of those deep wounds of the addiction. And that's what shifted it for me. So that was it's all the work with plant spirit medicine, the work that we offer, and as you just mentioned there as well, one of the reasons why plant spirit medicine and the way that we hold these retreats as safe trauma informed setting is that we create a safe space for people to have a direct experience, because that's the direct experience. It's like the day of the guru is gone. The day of the
Mhm.
middleman or the middlewoman in between you and your connection to spirit, that's kind of old news. So I couldn't agree with you more, Marissa, in terms of,
Yeah.
this is the time now for us all to start tuning in and find our own inner truth, and share that with the world.
Yeah, it's interesting. Before you went into that Reiki session, like, did you believe in the other side at all, or did you believe in spirit, or did you have any desire to even think about that stuff or intuition or anything like that, or were you just like, oh, I don't believe in any of that before this experience happened for you?
Yeah, not really, not really. I was very unreligious, based upon the kind of religious teachings at school being non-resonant for me. And I think I could, with my understanding now, just recognizing that just felt limited, and it didn't resonate to me what was being taught in that way, at least.
Yeah.
And I didn't have any spiritual mentors or anyone spiritual around me growing up. And that, in fact, my family were actually quite against religion. Not They were just quite anti-church kind of people. I don't really know any more than that. So it just wasn't really
Yeah.
prevalent. And then all my friendship groups were all very logical. I did a chemistry degree, so science background, and yeah, the kind of music scene and things like that. It was just people were just partying and having fun. It really wasn't so much. So yeah, that was a really big opening and awakening. That was one of the biggest catalysts in my life for sure.
Yeah, mediumship could be very profound, especially when you're having that opening. Now, did you get a message from your mother during that first, or was it a feeling like you just knew she was there? You felt her love, you felt that blanket of energy just come over you, and you knew like it changed you. Was that kind of what it was?
Yes. Yeah, the latter.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's how it
Yeah.
was that. Yeah.
And
Yeah.
that's just so interesting that you had another experience when you did your retreat that was like she was confirming that yes, that was her, and she came to you. And sometimes I think that's all we need, just being a medium for as long as I have been. It's like sometimes you just need that one confirmation. Like it's not really meant to depend on the other side for messages for that relief. But it's meant to just give you that one moment of undeniable proof so that you can really get on your path and move forward. I think for so many years in my industry, especially in the beginning, I was in my early 20s, like, so that shows you how far along it was. And for me, it was like, those big home run baseball hits. And if I could do that for people, that meant I was validating something was coming up in their life or validating what was going on. I'm like, oh, that's what they need. But then I'd come to find out later on that people were replaying patterns, and what I was seeing was their patterns playing out. I was looking down those roads, and while those predictions were very, very accurate, almost scary accurate, they weren't really breaking their patterns for my clients. People would be coming back, and I was like, oh, I'm seeing what actions they're taking, what's coming for them based on their choices, based on their actions, based on their frequency, based on their vibration. So, how do we change that, right? We have to change the frequency. So, that's kind of where I'm going to come in with you, Michael, is releasing that pain of the past. Because when people are in cycles like that and they know better, but they keep choosing that same, you know, career situation over and over again, the same relationship over and over again, thinking that if they change cities or countries or move away, that things will change. And it's like, no, you're taking you with you. How do we start that cycle change? How do we release the pain of the past according to plant spirit medicine? How is that done according to your work? Because there's a lot of modalities out there. This is another one. But how do you do that?
Yeah. Great question. So, the first thing is the power of plant medicines have the ability to catalyze processes that might take 5 years, and it might take 5 minutes with a plant medicine. That doesn't mean that it's a magic bullet or a magic pill and there's not no more work to done to integrate into anchoring those new vibrations. But what plant medicine experiences, especially with ayahuasca and the way that we work, that I'm going to talk about, in a trauma-informed, empowering setting that gives you also the tools that you can have to understand those experience changes, understand perhaps why you incarnated with those patterns, understand why that you're not able to break free from that, understand the karmic perhaps reasons for what this is happening, and then move into a shift and a change where you actually start believing that the new patterns and behavior are actually beneficial for you. So I would kind of just start and just say here that when we're in an old pattern and behavior, on some level, and again, this might not be easy to break through or change or do things, but on some level, we don't believe that the new vibration that we're going to be in is actually going to be beneficial for us. We're like, oh, well, I'm going to stop. If I stop eating this type of food, then I'm actually going to feel better. If we actually just recognized that I'm going to stop eating this food, I'm going to eat this type of food, I'm actually going to feel better. If we just believed that 100% that it was beneficial for us, we just do it. So what the reason is that we come back into here is that these unconscious traumas, things that we've had experiences with, actually prevent us from believing the future that's available for us, prevent us from actually anchoring that in. And we get stuck in these cycles because we just get stuck in the shackles and the chains of whatever experiences we might have. And of course, that's manifested through trauma in this lifetime, but it's also multidimensional trauma across many different lifetimes that we've actually now experiencing it through this incarnation. And then through breaking free from those shackles and chains from all these different lifetime experiences of separation, we can then step into fourth density unity consciousness, become more open, more heart-centered, more loving. So how do plant medicines come into play with this is that in the trauma-informed ayahuasca ceremonies that my wife Jamie and I hold, we work with spirit in this safe trauma-informed container to create the optimum environment for you to heal and evolve, to release the pain of the past somatically from the body, to purge from the body, to purge from the memory, from the DNA, from the cells, from the structures, and then to have direct experiences of unity consciousness with God, with creator, whatever you want to call that, to have multidimensional experiences connecting and communicating with other beings, and then having transformative experiences that shift the way that you perceive reality, that opens a portal for you to see things as a clear, more objective state of reality, rather than through the trauma lens, which we grow up into. When we see that trauma lens, when we have institutions, when we have family, when we have events that happen to us, it changes and shifts the way that we see reality. So really, the plant medicine is like a multi-dimensional cleaning of all those things that are not us, which when reveals is the truth of who we are. So these are a process that we go through in our 10-day ayahuasca healing evolution retreats. We work with 10 days, 4 ayahuasca ceremonies, but we also have a plethora of different plant medicines that help clean the mind, the body, the spirit, the nervous system, help repair the nervous system, help improve the memory, prevent degenerative nerve disease, heal trauma at the root cause. And this is a whole holistic program which we provide to people, and then we also give people the opportunity to take some of these plants back with them and to continue on that healing and evolution program. But I'm just going to pause here because I know, Marisa, you and I talked before the show, and we agreed that it would be a great idea that we could give something practical that if people want to start healing with plant medicines, that they can do so at home. So it's very simple, and it's very easy, it's very safe. And this is just going to be, and we talked about this before, Marissa, didn't we? This is like kind of like the old remedies that people would have. But this is very, very powerful remedy for stress, for anxiety, for cleaning negative thoughts, for healing the nervous system, for opening and cleaning the lungs, for just creating a more openness in general. So if you can you can probably buy these online, get eucalyptus leaves, baby eucalyptus leaves or eucalyptus leaves, baby is preferred, and then just put a handful of these in a steaming hot water pot, and then just boil it for about 10 or 15 minutes, and then just put a towel over your head. And the invitation for you through your higher self is just to pray to these plants and just say, please lift me up, please clean me, please help me heal, please help me evolve, and just pray to these. And then you just stay in there for about 10 or 15 minutes. Now you can do this for 3, 4, or 5 days if you want, and just watch the way that you different sleep. If you do this in the evening, you have a much more tranquil sleep. You'll have a much more relaxed nervous system, and the energies within your thoughts, you'll be much more relaxed within your thoughts. So we do these on our retreats, but we do them with a load of other plants as well that are native here. And we have full body saunas with blankets over the top and massive big pots. But if you want to connect right now, you can do that with eucalyptus leaves. And if you can't get eucalyptus leaves, just do a couple of drops of eucalyptus essential oil and just see how you do that. So that's my message and gift for you here all this evening.
Yeah, I have so many questions. That's a great way to start. And last time you were on, right? You did some chanting and some Icaros for everyone. And I don't know if you plan to do any of that this evening or not, but when you do that, that's part of your healing retreats and your journeys and your sessions. When you and if you guys want to go back and watch the show in the past, like you could watch that chanting. What does that actually, because I mean, we're not in Peru with you. We're not in the jungle. We're not taking ayahuasca. So like when you did that on the last show, like what did that do for people like in the audience by listening to those? Because it's not in English, obviously. What does it do?
Yeah, well, I'm also just going to say, because I'm sure Vanita, thanks for all your comments, and thanks everyone for your comments here. Vanita, I'm pretty confident that I remember you being in the last show. So if you have any, and if I'm wrong, please forgive me. But if anyone was here in that show, I'd be interested to see if you want to write in the comments about how you experienced those healing songs and the Icaros in the last time. But I'll go ahead and explain a little bit more while perhaps anyone thinks about that.
Yeah,
The
I don't
the
know. Oh, go ahead.
the healing song that we had, the healing songs at Icaros, are basically channeled healing vibrations from spirit. So the songs are based in the Shipibo language. It's a healing technology, which is a language that, under our understanding, is a language that was given to the Shipibo. The Shipibos are a tribe from the Amazon rainforest, and from our understanding, it is a language of the plants that was given to these people to communicate with the plants. Now, within these songs, there are different codes and vibrations, very much and very similar to, with regards to the Sanskrit. Like, if you know, you hear about Sanskrit or mantras, there's different vibrations within them. So these healing songs, it's a language that Jamie and I have learned to a good degree, where we're able to communicate with spirit in this different language. So the healing songs, how it works is it opens different portals, it opens different energetic portals, it calls in different spirits, and it directs spirits, connects with the love of God, and there's different vibrations and transmissions that occur, which, used in an ayahuasca ceremony, is used to hold a safe space and then to do healing work on people. It's used for diagnosis of illnesses and traumas. And then it's also used to help transform those traumas and help people remember the truth of who they are. Sue, I will come back and mention about the eucalyptus oil again briefly for one moment, but I'm just going to finish this. So these healing songs, when they're sung, they are direct connections for you to connect with spirit, and they work across time. So they work across time and space, beyond time and space. And in different healing sessions and song that I do online and in our ceremonies, they are used to help clean the mind, body, and spirit from trauma. They're used to help open connections to love, help used to open connections to the truth of who you are, so that you're able to have a direct experience of this healing. So they're very strong and powerful transmissions that are used. And this is part of what we also teach on the 2-week Inner Truth immersion with Noya Rao and Blue Lotus. So again, if that's something you're like, how do I learn about this healing technology? That's something that's what we do in our 2-week one. But yeah, it's a very, very powerful language. The way that we have this, like, described this, the Shipibo language in itself and the way that Icaros are taught in the Shipibo language are very much based within duality, and it's more third density. But the way that we have interpreted this language and then used this language in the way that we do as part of our soul's expression at Casa Galactica is more about non-duality, about unconditional love, about healing with the love of God, about dissolving separation and bringing in unity consciousness. So when this is done in an ayahuasca ceremony, this is very, very powerful. And it's also very, very powerful outside of an ayahuasca ceremony. So if anyone's interested in knowing more about that and how they work in my online trauma healing sessions or in ceremonies, please also go to casagalactica.com. Just go ahead and book a free, completely free, no obligation, 30-minute consultation with us online, because I know there's a lot of information here and a lot of it might be new. So if it's not all making sense or you want to know more, please go to our website and check that out. So I'll just circle back around quickly there for Sue. So Sue and anyone else will just grab a pot of clean water and boil it on the stove for about 10 or 15 minutes. And then that'll just clear out any impurities, if there's any impurities in your tap water. And then if you're going to use eucalyptus essential oil, just put 2 or 3 drops in, just 2 or 3 drops in to begin with, and then allow the vapors to come up and then just breathe the vapors in. And if anyone wants to go one step further than this, you can also do this perhaps if you want to go in the shower, so you can take your clothes off so that you have it to absorb into your skin as well. And you can also have a towel over your head and over the pot as well. So very simple, a couple of drops, a few drops of eucalyptus essential oil in a boiling pot of water, the towel over, breathe in, and then just through your higher self, pray to the plants, ask for healing, for your highest good and healing. Repeat that 3 times. So thank you.
I have to ask you, Michael, like, can you hang up eucalyptus in your shower, like just the leaves in your shower? So like when you put on the shower, the steam will do it the whole time, or is that weird? Like, how do they do it in like spas? Is that how they do it? I don't know.
Yeah, well, one thing that we have like here, we have so many eucalyptus trees around us, and this is one of the big medicines that we work with here. Sometimes we'll just grab the leaves and then just put them on the shower floor and then kind of stand on them, and then the hot water kind of brings up some vapor like that. So more on the floor, and you can stand on them and break it up a little bit, and as the hot water hits that, then can bring that. But yeah, you can hang it up, I'm sure, as well. But I think on the floor and kind of standing on it and breaking those leaves up seems to work a little bit better.
Awesome. I know Vanita was saying when she was talking, when you were talking and describing, she felt tingling, she said, and she knows she's a medicine woman in one of her past lives. So I think that's interesting.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, I trust that, Vanita. Thank you. Thank you for sharing that with us.
Yeah, and if you guys, this is a time for you. We're gonna switch it over. If you have any questions about your life path, things you want to know about, breaking through in your life or situations that are going on with you, um, Michael is here to answer your questions. If you have anything personal you'd like to ask or have channeled or any insight on your own healing, you can feel free to put the question in the chat. I just want to come back around, Michael, to ayahuasca itself, because I know that I didn't know what that was, maybe even 5 years ago, I didn't know what it was. So, for people that don't know what ayahuasca is and what an ayahuasca ceremony is and what you do and what you can experience, because I know there was a lot of fear that I had about it because of people having, crazy experiences where some people would have these amazing, enlightening experiences, but then you hear people having like experiences that are like scary or they get paranoid. And so, can you debunk some of this stuff that maybe is out there about that?
Yes, absolutely. And Sue, I've seen your message there that you've mentioned, so I'll just comment on that shortly. But I'm going to just answer Marissa and talk more about what ayahuasca is and to all of you. So ayahuasca is actually 2 plants. It's the ayahuasca vine and it's the chacruna leaf. So the chemical or biochemistry background with regards to this is that the ayahuasca vine contains within it an MAOI inhibitor, monoamine oxidase inhibitor, which has different effects, but one of them being that the DMT contained within the chacruna leaf, the other part, is not broken down by the body so quickly, thus and therefore becomes orally active, so dimethyltryptamine. So you have a DMT like experience, a DMT experience, but the ayahuasca vine is also a teacher plant. So within that DMT realm, then there is also the guide of the ayahuasca plant. Now we go further because the work that Jamie and I do, Casa Galactica is a multidimensional center for healing and evolution. So Jamie and I work with many different beings and energies and guides that are always here in the highest vibration of love, light, and truth in service to all. One of them being Noyorao, which is an enlightened tree that grows here in the Amazon rainforest, which is what we do in our 2-week Noyorao immersion. And the other one is Blue Lotus. Blue Lotus is one of our other plant teachers. There are all these many different beings and guides that Jamie and I work with, like Kuan Yin, Mary Magdalene, Jesus, a whole bunch of different extraterrestrial beings in that are here in highest alignment and service and here to assist in the transformation of planet Earth. And within this space, what actually happens is when you drink the ayahuasca vine and the chacruna together, you go into this altered state, which really is like the veil of illusion, the veil of separation begins to dissolve. So people can automatically become very much more clairvoyant, clairaudient, clairsentient, which these are all things that we can do without these plant medicines.
Mm-hmm.
But it's a very visceral experience because you go into this state, you go into this multidimensional state. And when you're guided in a trauma-informed setting and you understand about the work that we teach, teach people to channel, teach people how to open their intuitive abilities. This can also be very much used as a strong teaching ground for you to remember the truth of who you are, which is already intuitive, already free, already loving, already unconditional, all these different types of things. And why is it so healing? Because ayahuasca is also a purgative, so that when we go into some of these experiences, like perhaps when we're in this altered state, we can revisit the pain of the past, and we can also then purge it. Sometimes we might vomit, or sometimes we might sweat, or sometimes we might just have like shakes coming out the body as somatic trauma just leaving the body. Sometimes you might have diarrhea. Sometimes you might, cry. You get very much deeply in touch with the emotions. So it really magnifies whatever we're holding on to and helps us to release that at a catalytic rate that would take, many different sessions or years of other alternative therapies to get to a similar experience. Now,
Yeah.
just to kind of go back onto the next part of the question here, in terms of some of the kind of like the stories that you might hear about ayahuasca, or sometimes you might hear about ayahuasca so dangerous, or ayahuasca is so difficult, and people have had these terrifying, terrible experiences with ayahuasca. The majority of that is because it's done in an unsafe environment. That's not all the case. Sometimes you can have a scary experience in a safe environment, but the work that we do is trauma informed. Jamie and I are both trauma informed. We teach trauma informed care to people. This is the heart of what we do, from both going through deep levels of sexual abuse, violent abuse, many different levels of abuse and PTSD, and healing from those, and creating safe trauma informed spaces for people is our absolute passion, and we're compelled as this life experience to do this for people. So if you have a scary experience on ayahuasca, for instance, a scary experience might be revisiting a traumatic experience within one's life. When you're held in a trauma-informed container, it enables that to release from the body, somatically from the body, from the cells, from the being, from the brain, from the belief systems. And then the brain can become rewired, retrained, so that you're not necessarily then experiencing the PTSD because that trauma has left the body. Now, when you're held in a safe environment, that in a loving environment, that's such a profound experience, because that scary experience that you might have had as a child, when no one was there to help you, no one was there to support you, when you have the support of people like Jamie and I, who are trauma informed, that enables you to have a different experience. It's kind of like if you think about those experiences, if you have a dream where you were being bullied as a kid, and then you have a dream and you're actually able to beat the bully up, or you're able to run away or do something different, that changes your experience. So multidimensionally, this work is very, very deep and very profound, and it can help change and catalyze and transform PTSD, trauma, depression, anxiety, suicidal ideation at rapid fire rate, because the trauma leaves the body. The brain patterning, the brain trauma that we might have from that abuse or whatever it might be is transformed and healed. So it's a very, very powerful experience. So ayahuasca can be sometimes a little bit tough. Those experiences can sometimes be challenging, but they're very, very life transformative. It's kind of like the analogy I sometimes use is that if you want to go to get fit and you want to go to get in shape, sometimes it might be a little bit uncomfortable going to the gym. But if you have the right trainer there with you, showing you how to use all the equipment and looking after you, then you're going to be safe. And even though it might be uncomfortable, on the other side of that, you're going to feel a lot better and you're going to get to that goal. So if your goal is to heal and evolve, we offer safe, trauma-informed spaces that catalyze your healing and evolution exponentially.
Awesome. And I just want to point out, because Vanita is saying she'd love to work with plants and herbs, but doesn't feel strongly called to doing ayahuasca at the moment. Yeah, this is not it. I feel like when I talked to Michael about this before, he says, you're called, like if you feel called to do this, but this is not something I'm drawn to. So just to put it out there to you guys, I feel like you can work with somebody who does plant spirit healings, like with Michael. You can work with him without ingesting the ayahuasca. You can work with him distance healing, that kind of thing. For me, that's not something that I'm also interested in plant spirit work too. But I know for sure, like when I tune into my own intuition, and I've done 7 years of trauma healing myself in all different modalities, I know what's safe for me. And I just feel like for me, that wouldn't be the path for me as far as drinking the the tincture or the I don't want to know what you call it, the solution or the bubble or what do you what do you
The
call it? Like
brew, the ayahuasca
the
brew.
brew. Yeah,
Yes.
for me because my trauma is like control and if I feel like I'm, I'm already up there with all the experiences that I'm having, I don't know what it would open up for me. So yeah, it's okay if you're watching this and being like, "Oh, is this the only way I could do this?" It's not the only way. It's a way that, if you're called to it, it's a way. But I don't want you to feel like it's the only way. You know, there's many ways that you can get there.
Yeah,
Right.
absolutely. And there's so many different ways to heal. There's so many different modalities.
Yeah.
Um, and we also have people who come to our retreats and experience the different plants and experience all the different teachings and experience because people come into the ceremonies and receive the healing. You don't have to drink ayahuasca in the ceremonies, and you receive the healing within these different multidimensional ayahuasca ceremonies. You don't have to drink ayahuasca. So, yeah, people experience profound levels of healing. Drinking ayahuasca and ingesting that has its benefit, of course, and that may not be for everybody. So, again, always trust your inner truth. So, Vanita, yeah, trust what you're feeling. To everyone else, Marissa, yeah, trust what you're feeling. That's what it's always coming back to. It's coming back to you as your own teacher. Are you deciding what's right for you?
Yeah.
And so,
I
for
mean,
people who are interested, yeah,
yeah. Oh, go ahead. Go ahead.
no, I was just gonna say for people who are you kind of like, I'm not sure, maybe
Yeah.
maybe it is,
Yeah.
maybe interested, I want to know more. That's when I just say, just book a consultation and we'll talk about more of it
Yeah.
in depth because we can't, everyone has their own set of circumstances that's impossible to kind of talk about in this hour. So if you have your own set of circumstances, which is what I call the symptoms of separation, might be I'm depressed, I'm anxious, or I'm having these issues, or I'm having trouble connecting to my truth, or I'm unhappy, or I'm looking for a deeper level of experience, I'm looking for kind of like samadhi level experiences, I'm looking for trying to have some more deeper spiritual awakenings, whatever that might be for you, just reach out to us at casagalactic.com and then we'll just talk to you, honestly about our experiences, provide you with more information so that you can make more of an informed choice for what's best for you for your own healing and evolution.
Well, the question I have, Michael, is, for the people that opt out of drinking the bubble, drinking the brew, right? When they're in the jungle and they're coming to your immersion retreat and they're doing everything else, are they kind of missing out on what you feel other people are getting, or can they get the same degree of healing from not, partaking in that part of the ceremony?
It depends on the individual. It depends on the individual because, for me, I could lead an ayahuasca ceremony without drinking ayahuasca. I sing the ayahuasca healing songs without drinking ayahuasca. I do my trauma healing sessions online, and
Yeah.
traditionally people would say you have to drink ayahuasca to be able to do this healing work. That's not the case for me. It's not the case for Jamie.
So when you do this work,
Do
like,
those ceremonies.
oh, sorry, you cut out for a minute there. I thought you stopped talking.
No, no. Where did we get up to? I'll
Uh,
just say the whole thing again.
oh no, I don't because it like cut out a little bit. So then I
Okay.
asked you another question, and then
Okay.
I don't know if you were answering that question or if you went on a different topic.
I didn't hear the second topic. I was
Oh,
just talking about how it's different for different people. So really where it is depends where you are. If you're already open and intuitive, you'll have very much multidimensional experiences within the ayahuasca ceremonies without
mhm,
drinking anything. If you're someone who's perhaps more, stuck in the trauma body and is kind of like struggling to open and connect, you might have less of a visceral experience, but it's still the healing work occurs regardless. Traditionally, ayahuasca is only ever drunk by the curandero, which is the person leading the ceremony, and the patients, they would come to the ceremony to receive the healing without drinking the ayahuasca.
oh,
So
that's interesting.
that's traditionally how it was done, and it's actually
Yeah.
more of a recent thing that the patients actually drink the ayahuasca. So yeah, it really depends on where you are, what you're looking for. Of course, there's benefits.
Oh,
We encourage people, one thing is that everyone's dosage of ayahuasca is different. So if you're really open and intuitive, you have a very small dose.
mhm,
If you're not so open, or like perhaps you're like a larger physical body, then you have a larger dose. And we intuitively work with you for your guide. Everything is optional. You never have to drink everything that you never have to drink what we give you. We never have to drink, you never have to do anything you don't want to. So you can always participate to the level that you feel like any given day. And that's a big part of the trauma-informed care that we offer.
Now, do you drink ayahuasca every single time that you like? How often do you do this? And does it have a different effect every time for you? Or have you had experiences which you couldn't like, which were not controllable for you? Or do you like, how does this work that you're doing it so much? Like, how does it affect you?
Well, good question. So yeah, we drink every ayahuasca ceremony that we hold and we lead. We drink ayahuasca. We drink ayahuasca so that we're in there. That's how we hold ceremonies. That's the traditional way of holding ceremony, and this
Yeah.
way enables us to be connected with the medicine to do the healing work, and then spirit channels through us. We embody spirit. Spirit works through us, and through this varying different channels in the ceremonies, this occurs. So in terms of uncontrollable experiences, um, I've had very many deep, powerful experiences, but for me, like as we work as a curandero, our work is to be able to help people control their experiences. So if someone's too much in the medicine, we help bring them down. If they're not enough in the medicine, then we bring them up. But what I would say is rather than is it not controllable, some of the big powerful experiences with ayahuasca is about a deep surrender to an experience that might be a little bit more challenging. And through those deep surrenders that I've had of completely letting go, some of the most profound healings and deepest connections with one consciousness have occurred for me through letting go, just surrendering myself to the infinite consciousness and just watching and feeling this trauma dissolve at rapid fire rate. So yeah, the work with plant medicine is very much about surrender. And we help people to surrender into that by creating such a safe, trauma informed space that invites vulnerability, it invites trust. And through that trusting environment, when people really let go, they can have a very, very deep and profound spiritual healing and awakening experience.
So this is just a curiosity question because I'm imagining you in the jungle drinking this stuff and then having this profound surrender and spiritual experience. How can you do that and also be in the moment helping people practically with their experience when you're like having your own profound experience? Like, how are you able to stay present and like grounded and like help all these other people when you're also kind of moving through a spiritual experience and wanting to remain present in that?
Yeah, well, so when we're in ayahuasca ceremony, our prime directive is to be of service to people. So some of what I'm talking about and sharing about is this is our own personal experiences of working with the medicine personally, training, continuing to do this work. Well, it's just Jamie and I, or myself on my own. So
Ah,
when we're here in service to others, the ceremony has a very different effect for us because we're here as channels. So we're here holding space for people, but from our deep conviction and trust in spirit and the way that we work, it's not a thinking exercise. Being of service for people is not a thinking exercise. It comes from somewhere deeper. So it is also a surrendering process, a surrendering to our higher selves, surrendering to know exactly what to do, how to help people, what to say, what they need right now. How are we going to, maybe they need to bring brought down a little bit, if they're a little bit scared, if we need to hold their hand or ask permission, and would you like us to hold your hand? How, what would how are you doing? So there's a very, very deep surrender. So for us, Jamie and I learned so much through of being of service in these ceremonies because we go in there with the prime directive of being of service for the highest healing good of everyone who's joining our work. And through that, we have these amazing experiences of
mhm.
just learning about the infinite intelligence of the universe, of these amazing things that occur um, through being of service. And it's just profound. It's just profound. It blows our mind every time. Every
Yeah.
experience is different and it blows our mind every time in different ways.
Awesome. I mean, I have to go back to one of the other things you were mentioning is that in the past, the teacher was the only one to drink the brew and then not the students. So it's like when you were explaining it, it was the concoction itself that was working with the, MAOI stuff and working on the brain and all that stuff. So if the teacher was only imbibing it in the past, like how was that giving that experience to the students when they weren't actually taking the medicine?
Well, so in those experiences, basically the healing work happens when the curandero sings the icaros, or healing songs, or as you describe them as chants.
Right.
They are then sung to call in spirit, connect with spirit, and to direct spirit to do different healing, multidimensional surgeries, operations on people, on the mind, body, spirit. So they
Mhm.
receive that without needing to drink. So it's spirit that's doing the work, which is the essence, really, which we take one step further in all of our work, which is our multidimensional work in service to others, is that no one needs to ingest anything, not even us, to be able to do this work. It's our deep faith and connection with spirit. And the connection that I'm describing is something that everyone has, but it's the faith that we have in that and the
Mhm.
trust that we have in that that enables us to create those spaces for healing and evolution.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much. Well, we could have gone on for a whole other hour. It's coming to that time where we got to wrap it up. So I think everybody was um so involved in, the conversation. I do think, wait, what's next in my journey? Um, well, Vanita, I'm glad you asked, but we do have to wrap it up in about a minute or two. So Michael, maybe you can quickly take this question.
Straight away, the first thing is that just recognizing that you're already open, that you're already there, that the gifts are already here. Stop doubting yourself and just trust that and embody that, and just continue to trust that everything's happening at perfect pace. Just continue to follow those things, those openings, those teachings, those places that you feel joyful and aligned with, and allow it to naturally and beautifully continue to show you more about the truth of who you are.
Yeah, Vanita, what I'm picking up with you is I feel like you have to make some decisions on a path. And maybe you've been researching a lot of things, or maybe you've been looking and trying to see what fits for you. But I'm thinking that instead of waiting for that A to Z answer, like that, where you're going to be able to start to take action on your path, maybe just taking an action is going to lead you to your path. So
Mhm.
I think that you're waiting. I'm getting a feeling of waiting and seeing and waiting for to know where you're going, but I don't think you're going to have that answer until you get started. So I think take the journey, take the action, just take a path, and you'll know if it's not right for you, from the start. But I think what I'm feeling for you is you need to take action along a path and see where it leads. All right. Um,
Right.
okay. Michael, did you want to take this? I'm
Yeah, I just wanted to quickly go back to Sue because I said I was going to get back to her quickly, and
okay.
she mentioned about and then I'll come back to, I think it was Michael down there quickly. I'll just quickly fire through that. So Sue, yes, so the trauma from a brain injury, yeah, the eucalyptus saunas can help. Again, always any plant medicines, I'd always say you don't know your medical history, but look into the plant Brahmi, and check. You might want to check that with regards to your medical practitioner. That might be a supplement that might be able to assist and help you as well. Brahmi, Brahmi, an Ayurvedic herb. We also have on our retreats that we do, we treat people with things for different recovery from brain traumas and things like this with regards to different plants or different trauma in the brain. So I don't know your personal situation, but please feel free if you want to also book a healing session or something like that, and we can start to look into that, and I'll start doing work on that as well. But yeah, definitely check out the eucalyptus, and then see if that feels like resonant with your own medical practitioner, the Brahmi, as well. So yeah, wish you all the best in your recovery, Sue. And yeah, thank you.
And Michael,
Yes.
I don't think I can take this one, but if you have anything, Michael.
Yeah, well, I'm sorry. I'm sorry that if you're told that you need a cataract surgery, again, I would say that sometimes, I've got a lot of friends who've had different types of cataract surgeries and things like this, and different surgeries on their eyes, and then their vision and life has changed profoundly. So I'm sorry that you're having a difficult time. Supplement that I'm going to recommend to you, though, that you might do, and this is to anyone who wants to improve their eye health. You can find, it's called lutein. I think I'm saying it right. Lutein.
Mhm.
And this is a plant. It's basically extract. It's an extract from a marigold plant, But you can buy it online. These capsules, they're called lutein, and they usually have something beginning with Z as well. So lutein and the beginning with Z as well together. And these are great eye supplement, and it really helps with the healing of the eyes, the healing of the optic nerve and things like this. So that might be something that also might be assistance to you, Michael.
All right, thank you so much. All right, we do have to wrap it up. So thank you, Michael, for coming. And Michael Ruff, thank you for your question. Just going over how to connect with Michael again, trauma-informed plant spirit healer, Michael Thornhill, to connect with him about his retreats, his sessions, the immersion, anything you'd like to know to book your free 30-minute session, go to casagalactica.com. And again, he's the co-founder of Casa Galactica in Peru. I'm like, this is way too long for me today. Peru. Yes, Peru. And yes, so if you would like to, I think the first step with Michael, just based on him coming on our show the last time and this time, is to really, I think, find out where you need to work with him. You do need to have that session. So, go to the website and connect with Michael, and kind of he'll be able to tell you which way you need to go. For me, if you're here, we talked about this in the beginning. New quiz: what's your intuitive superpower? We talked about this throughout the show, that you could be clairvoyant, clairaudient, clairsentient, claircognizant. Which one are you? You need to kind of get that dominant strength nailed down to kind of start on your path to building your intuition from a solid foundation. So it's my free quiz. Figure out what you are and connect with me about that. And my retreat that's coming up May 11th through 14th. Like I said, right now, spots are being held for my students that are already my students to decide if they would like to come, because they already have the trainings. And if you would like to be part of that with any additional slots that we have open, we are only taking 16 people. It's May 11th through the 14th in Lake Placid, New York. And this is also, it's a journey of breakthrough, awakening your inner truth. And we're going to be going through, activating your intuition on a much higher level, your manifestation for the new year, and also balancing and grounding the nervous system, but taking it a step further with lessons that I don't even teach in my classes. This is something only that can be done in person. So if you'd like to apply for this, please request the info by going to my email at info@connectionbeyond.com, and I will send you an application to apply. And let's see what else there is. Awesome. Everybody, thank you for being here. Michael, is there anything you'd like to say before we go?
No, just absolute, gratitude and thanks. And yeah, really, really grateful to be here. And yeah, please feel free to reach out. You can also join our newsletter, a subscriber list at casagalactica.com, and you'll get a free fundamentals of trauma healing workshop, a beginner's guide to strengthening your intuition, and also 20% off an online session with me or my wife, Jamie. So please go ahead, make the most of that. And yeah, any questions you've got or we didn't get to at this point, please feel free to reach out directly to me. And just, yeah, what a great community you've got here, Marisa. It's just such a pleasure to be here. And thank you so much to everyone. Always a pleasure and very, very grateful. Thank you so much.
Thanks, guys. We will see you. Oh, Benita. Yes, I'm so sorry. I did promise you that. I got a little sidetracked. So thank you so much for reminding me. Benita is actually launching her new podcast, and she is a member of our community. She's on the lounge every week on our weekly energy forecast. So she is announcing the release of her podcast, Elevate. It's called Elevate with V. I'm assuming that's you, Benita. In each episode, she engages in meaningful conversations with a wide variety of healers to empower them to transform dark moments into purposeful light. So you're doing the work, and feel free to post the link to your podcast in the comments, Benita, so people can actually, because I'm on my phone here looking at it, but you could post the actual podcast in the comments. And she would really appreciate you, if you're a member of the lounge, following her channel on Apple Podcast and sharing with anyone you think would appreciate this. And it's also on Spotify. So I can't wait to listen to your first episode. And feel free to add that into the comments, Benita. And of course, the lounge members will support you for your podcast. Again, thank you for reminding me. I tend to have a lot on my mind doing the interviews and moving things around. So I appreciate it. There it is. So yes, her podcast is called Elevate, and the link is in the comments. So thank you, Vanita, and congratulations on your podcast. All right. Well, thank you,
Awesome.
Michael, and thank you, everyone. We will see you very soon next week for the weekly energy forecast. For the monthly energy forecast, make sure you're on the list to get your monthly energy forecast from me. And the retreat, we're going to be going over that soon too. And also a workshop for those of you that apply, a very special workshop, free workshop on manifesting. So make sure you get your applications in, send your email in, and we'll see you very, very soon. Thank you for coming on the lounge. We'll see you next time.